Okay, well, I'll get started. It's just a little after 10. Again, my name is Mike Tabor, and this is our regular Wednesday Keystroke POS Live. And today we're going to go over the third-party payment integration. That allows you to use our KeyPay program, which is a PCI-compliant program with other applications, mainly PC Charge Payment Server and PC Charge Pro. I'm going to go ahead and just mute the microphones here from the audience, and then I'll go ahead and unmute them later for questions. If you have an important question you have to ask right away, or if it's pertinent to what I'm speaking about, you can use the little chat function at the bottom of your GoToMeeting screen. And we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so at this time, we're talking about the Keystroke third-party payment integration. This allows us to do a few things with Keystroke with different credit card processors other than our standard Mercury payment systems and Merchant Warehouse. As you know, let me get back to the screen. For those that don't come to our Wednesday webinars, we have them every Wednesday. They're at 10 o'clock sharp. And we'll be going over different topics. The first of every month is what we call our hosted with the SBS President Michael Gebb. This next first of the month Wednesday will be at the Dealer Summit, so we actually won't be having that, but next week we'll have David Hunsinger going over PCI integration. Let's talk about the third-party payment integration. This is a program we have written to work with our KeyPay program. KeyPay has been certified with the PCI standards, and so we wanted to give people other options other than just Merchant Warehouse or Mercury payment systems. As you know, as Keystroke resellers, you can get residuals from Mercury and from Merchant Warehouse for signing up customers to process payments through them. And you also get from us the co-op funds. And so we've spent a lot of time kind of working with this PC Charge integration, and we call it the third-party payment integration because there are other people knocking on our doors wanting us to integrate Keystroke with their platform. And we've so far just done it with PC Charge. It works with version 5.9. Actually, that should read 5.9.3. and 5.10 of PC Charge. So that's kind of the newest version of PC Charge and a previous version back. Does not work with older versions, 5.8 or 5.9.2. It does not work with as PC Charge and Verifone, who actually makes PC Charge and owns PC Charge now, makes changes, and we kind of find out about that after the fact. We sell this only through Keystroke resellers. We do not sell this or even quote the pricing to anybody that calls and asks for it. We actually send them directly to our Keystroke reseller to leave it up to the dealer to quote a price for them. The dealer cost is $295, and it's a per year updates plan, meaning you can still run an older version of Keystroke and an older version of KeyPay for the $295 and not pay that every year. But if you want updates to Keystroke or KeyPay, you need to buy your software maintenance plan, and you need to also have the $295 additional yearly plan. Now keep in mind this pricing comes about because we're continually getting changes. And it's $295 per Keystroke serial number. So if you had a 3 or 4 store chain, you would be paying $295 per store, and that would be an annual fee. And these fees are really coming about for 2 reasons. Number one, of course, is not working with Mercury or Merchant Warehouse. We here at SBS and you as a dealer don't receive any residuals unless you're a PC Charge reseller. And then number 2, of course, is that there's the development costs. Every time they change a version, which they did, they went from 5.9.3 to 5.10. we immediately had to scramble and run around and change the Keystroke program and the KeyPay program to accommodate the new DLLs and files that they have. And there's talk about PC Charge going away in the future, but they keep saying that, but it's going to be replaced by payware, and when that happens, we're going to probably be scrambling to make our program work with payware. Like I mentioned, the pricing is not disclosed to the end user, so it's up to you to figure out what it's going to cost for you to implement this solution. And we give this to you as dealers as a solution, not so much as wanting you to always work with PC Charge, but PC Charge has been around for years, and they have multiple merchants that they are certified with. And this process actually encrypts the data and sends it via TCP/IP, a secure connection from Keystroke to KeyPay to PC Charge, out to the internet, and back eventually to Keystroke. So the older method used to actually write credit card data to files, and that's become kind of a no-no in the world, that you can't be writing credit card data to files, as any kind of keylogger program or file capture program can grab that credit card data. Let's just quickly talk about the installation in the program. When you purchase this from us, you'll receive a link to download it from our website. It comes with a document. The document is a PDF file. We can always send this to you at any time. I'm looking at it right here. This is the KeyPay with PC Charge document, and it's about 12 pages in length, and it goes through pretty much step-by-step the installation process. It talks about some minimum requirements, that you must have a Windows XP Pro, Service Pack 3 or above operating system. We do have Windows 8 in our office here and are testing it with that. We don't see any problems with that kind of integration. As you see, this document goes through different steps about running our KeyPay for PC Charge setup, and I'll actually run that setup to show you those steps. It talks about installing a certificate from PC Charge that's required to use the secure TCP/IP connections. It goes through some screenshots here. It talks about the settings inside of the KeyPay program, and we'll take a look at those shortly. This is more of a detailed PC Charge screen setup, and we'll go through this screen shortly again. And you notice in here we have different settings and so forth. Some processors in PC Charge don't allow us to send what we call sub-numbers or sub-letters. For instance, if you have two credit card payments on one invoice, we would send a sub-letter like an A, B, or C. And so some of these settings apply to certain processors like Nova, for instance. Excuse me. Just paging again through the document, it kind of talks about firewalls. We actually, in the program, allow KeyPay, Keystroke, and PC Charge access to the internet and TCP/IP connections. So normally you won't see this message, but on some operating systems you might if you're not logged in as an administrator. Talks about some settings in PC Charge where you can use multiple merchants instead of one default processor. We'll go over that. There's some setup about this certificate. And as you notice, this document, it goes about for 11 or 12 pages. There's some complexity to it, but it's well documented, keeping in mind that you have to kind of pay attention to the settings, otherwise you'll kind of get blocked every step of the way, and it's done for a reason, for security purposes. Again, here's a firewall message about using PC Charge payment server, allowing it to go to the internet, and some settings in Keystroke. All right, well, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it here. Let me just minimize this here, and I'm going to, you probably don't see anything shortly here, but let me get this started. Here's the setup program, and again, this is not on any CD. We actually send you a link via email that you can download this program, and you're welcome to call and ask for it and request it without a license. It does go into a test mode or demo mode where there is a delay of anywhere from 5 to 30 seconds, or actually 60 seconds between transactions. So if you use it for a period of time, you'll be waiting up to 1 minute between transactions before it'll actually go out and process. That's how we get the $295 from you. Anyhow, this is the main screen. It talks about KeyPay with PC Charge. I'll go through this setup. There's not too many choices to make here. Here it allows you to open the document. If you'd like to see what we were just looking at, the PDF and or print it, it's good to at least print it and read it one time. I'm going to click on the bottom link here just to go through the installation only. Of course, our license agreement. And click on Next. The installation of this is usually installed in the same location Keystroke is installed in. As I mentioned, the KeyPay program does get updated with the Keystroke program, and after a 1-year period, you'll start getting a warning that your KeyPay program has exceeded the 1-year period and you need to purchase an upgrade for PC Charge. I'm just going to install it to see Keystroke. The folder is Keystroke POS. That's just for the settings. And I'll click Next, and we'll go ahead and let this go. Here it actually is telling me I had it running down in the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and close it. That the KeyPay program is already running. And this brings up a question a lot of dealers have asked. PC Charge will not talk to KeyPay, the service, as the service runs in the background and the connection doesn't work until PC Charge is run. So we actually run the KeyPay.exe program itself. Okay, it's gone through the installation here. I'm going to click over here to the certificate import wizard. This is actually run in our setup program. It basically installs the PC Charge certificate that was given to us by Verifone. The bottom line answer to this is don't pay attention to anything, just click Next all the way through it. Don't worry about the file name. We've selected the correct one for you. Don't worry about a password. There is no password in this case. We're going to automatically select the certificate. Again, it's just Next, Next, Next. The last thing is a finish. And then it tells you that the certificate, I'll go back to KeyPay here, and it asks that now we need to enter our information. So let's go ahead and click OK. This right here is normally set up. This is blank. This would normally come up with Mercury, like a blank screen. But what we'll select is the Process Through tab here, and this is where we have our choices. Mercury, Merchant Warehouse, or PC Charge. We select PC Charge. The license code, I've entered our serial number 9999, and I've done the date out in the future. This is what you would get for the 1-year option. You would click on this here, and that's where you would put in your serial number and license code. You never see the license code, so once you put it in and click OK, it actually goes away. So don't worry about it. I'm clicking the cancel button here so I don't mess it up. What is important here are a couple of things. The data directory, I am just going to do a test today in our Keystroke Tutor data. The status directory is usually always the same as the data directory. I'm now going to click on the PC Charge settings right here in the middle. This is where you set this up, and let's talk about this top directories. The PC Charge directory here, normally this is left blank. The PC Charge directory, the processor code, and the merchant number. You would need to use this if you had multiple merchant IDs. Let's say you're using VisaNet or Telnet, and you have different merchant IDs, one for a mail order and one for retail sales. You would also use this if you want to set up gift cards. I'm just hopefully I'm seeing some comments that I'm going to unmute people for a second here and just see if everyone can see what I'm seeing. I want to make sure this is working for everyone. Let me get back to this. Hey, Victor, I saw a comment that the screen isn't changing. Is it changing now? I might have picked up.
I can see you, but I only see the initial dialog box that says keep page settings, and it's asking, telling you that you're gonna be asked about your merchant ID and Keystroke data directory and status directory, and it has an OK button. But I think after that you went to the actual settings screen.
Yeah, let me try this again, just so I can show you this. Thank you for making that comment.
Thank you.
Let's see, where am I? Okay. Now do you see this screen that says Settings ID Default?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me just ask, thank you.
Yeah, I can see them now.
This is the default screen, and it's processing through PC Charge. I'm going to click on this button. Do you now see that screen, the PC Charge directory at the top?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go ahead and mute you now, and if you have a problem, please use that chat. That worked out very well. Thanks. Okay, back to this screen. Now, this is the PC Charge setup. I was mentioning here that the top three fields are only needed if you have either multiple merchant IDs or if you have, let's say, gift cards. If I'm using, let's say, VisaNet for credit cards, or they call it Telnet now, I think, or what do they call that now? Alpha TSYS, T-S-Y-S. Or if, let's say, you're using GiveX for gift cards, you would actually be using PC Charge to work with two different processors. So these top three boxes are only used if you need to set up multiple merchant IDs. If you only have one for credit cards and that same one is being used for debit cards, then you really don't need that. This cashier name, this is important. This is new with version 5.10 of PC Charge. They ask you to set up a cashier name of manager, and we've done that. And then the password would be the password you set up for PC Charge. Now keep in mind, just like many of the different security options nowadays, every 30 or 60 days you're going to be asked in PC Charge to change your password. You will have to go into KeyPay and change your password there too. Otherwise, when you do a credit card, you'll get a very common message that says the manager's password is invalid, something along those lines. These checkboxes here, this use PC Charge version 5.9.3 is for the older version. The enhanced duplicate checking, you can just leave these as defaults. They pretty much work right out of the box. That's the good news. Like I mentioned, this number's only in the ticket number. That's our invoice number. Would be used by certain processors. You would know it right away. Let's say they wouldn't let you do debit cards when you put like a letter A or letter B into your invoice number. But what you can do is it'll change this over to like a -1, a -2, and a -3. And some don't like dashes. So some processors you can't use, you have to use numbers only, not the dashes, and so forth like that. This information right here, down at the bottom, it looks like there's lots of information, which there is. These addresses here and these port numbers are all set up by default by that certificate that we've installed. So only if you have ever installed PC Charge before with an older certificate that this would become invalid and you'd have to fill this out. But we'll open up PC Charge and see how that works. The good news is, here, let me show you. I've already actually opened up PC Charge in the background. Easy for me to do here. I'm having troubles switching screens, so let's do it this way. I've actually opened up PC Charge in the background here, and this is just running it's kind of a minimized screen. I kind of wanted to be able to use Windows. Normally this opens up in full screen mode. And this is where we're going to go in and look at some of the settings. Now again, all of these screens that you're seeing today are all in that PDF document. So let's go jump right into where we need to be. I'm going to go to the setup folder here. And if you can't see the PC Charge payment server application, just send me a little note under the chat there. And we're going to go to configure system. Now, one of our requirements is that you get PC Charge up and running with the merchant number installed and help from the PC Charge support before you even start working with Keystroke or KeyPay with PC Charge. A lot of people have their biggest problems is just getting PC Charge running. So anyhow, I'm going to click on Configure System. This screen comes up called Preferences. Hopefully you can all see that. If not, let me know. Couple points I'm just going to bring up. On the left-hand side, the Use Default Processor. This is noted in our documentation to always have this checked. You would uncheck the Use Default Processor if you had multiple merchants or if you had, let's say, gift card processing through GiveX and credit cards through TSYS or VisaNet. But normally that box is checked. That's pretty much all you really need to think about there. I think what we like is that all the defaults seem to work until you need to get some kind of complexity going like multiple merchants. I'm going to click on the Advanced tab in the lower left. And this brings up an Advanced Configuration Setup. All we're concerned with is the Configure IP settings in the middle of the screen here. This integration configuration, again, this is all documented in our PDF. I'll click on that. And these are the default settings, actually. But what you would need to do the very first time is come in here and verify that this Enable Secure TCP IP is checked. The default is current user, store name is my. If you don't see anything here, you click on Display Store, and that's actually the certificate they're talking about. You click on this certificate here, and you'll click OK, and that's really the extent of the setup in PC Charge. But let me show you, if I click on the Search Details, this is where you get the serial number. Now this is a certificate we install so we know what the serial number is, so we hard code it kind of into the KeyPay program. So luckily you don't need to change this, but if you had an old PC Charge installation, you might have 1, 2, or 3 of these certificates here, and either picking the right one that's not expired would be important. This one here is, I think it goes out to 2108, so it's good for about another 100 years. So all we do is highlight it, and that's all we do, and we click OK. We click OK again. We click OK a third time. So like I said, there's a lot of information there, but it's pretty much set up by default, so you don't have to worry about it too much unless you had an old PC Charge installation from a previous install. Okay, lastly, and again, I'm kind of rushing through this, and we'll open this up for questions in a moment here. I'm going to bounce back to the KeyPay program. This is where we kind of left off. You should see the PC Charge settings at the top. Again, I've already entered in my cashier name and password. I am going to go ahead and just click on, I can click on the Test Connection button in the lower left as long as PC Charge is up and running. It actually sends kind of a dummy or a test transaction to PC Charge and just says, yes, I've been able to communicate with you. I'm going to go ahead and click on that now. And this is actually a positive thing here. This is PC Charge connection has been validated. These are what they call their Trout IDs or TRID numbers. It's actually came back and made a transaction, so to say. So it's actually talking to PC Charge. If that doesn't work, that means the certificate is invalid or there's a firewall problem between KeyPay and PC Charge. I'll click OK on this. I'm going to click Save at the bottom. Again, most of the other settings, especially the ones on the bottom, never need to be changed. We're going to look at the tutor data, and I'm going to just click Save. And I'm not using a password now, so I'm just going to click OK. And it tells me about the settings have been saved, but I must close and reopen KeyPay. I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to click OK here. Let's get some Keystroke up and running here, just so you have something to look at. One other thing, what we do is during this program, you probably can't see this, but in the startup folder we do add a shortcut for KeyPay with full rights, administrator rights. That's in the startup folder because you really want PC Charge to be in the startup folder, and you want KeyPay to be in the startup folder. If you're on Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, you want to make sure it has full administrator rights, because keep in mind these programs are not just applications. They're actually talking to the internet using TCP/IP. They have firewall settings. There's a lot of background communication going on, and it all has to be secured, and all uses Microsoft cryptography pack or something like that. So these are just more complex applications that make sure that the credit cards are always secure. I'm going to quickly do a transaction here in Keystroke, and we'll see if we get some results. I guess quickly I'll just go into Configuration Manager just to show you our default settings, the last link I'll call it. Under the sales payment types, in the sales payment types we have our regular Visa, MasterCard for instance, and if you set up gift cards or EBT, you may or may not have different merchant numbers. Everything's the same as it always has been. This is our standard tutor setup. Our auth method is set to KP credit. If I click on that and I hit F3 here to edit that, you're going to see it's all our standard stuff, which is pretty much blank at the top. It's going to be credit cards. If I'm going to manually enter stuff, I'm going to do the CVV2 verification, and I could always use this test KeyPay button. This is the next test that says, first of all, we already checked that KeyPay can talk to PC Charge. This is the test button that says, can Keystroke talk to KeyPay? So there's three components. Keystroke talks to KeyPay, who talks to PC Charge, who talks to your processor, the fourth component. So everything passed. I'm going to say OK here. I'm going to finish up this. And then we're going to go do a sale. And we do have test credit card numbers for PC Charge for their VisaNet test account, but it's very difficult to set that up because you actually need to call PC Charge and get approved to use the test accounts. It's almost easier just to get your live merchant account and test with a live card. All right, I'm going to sell some items here. Make sure it's a dollar amount I have not used in the past for testing. Again, we select Visa, MasterCard. I have a card number here. It's actually the same card number as Merchant Warehouse. And the expiration date. And the CVV2 number. For PC Charge, at least the test account, it does require a CVV2 number. In this case, it's 999. And when I hit enter on OK here, it'll go out and actually talk to PC Charge. Now, I know during my webinar you can't see the two windows, but I have Keystroke, and below it I actually have PC Charge so I can see its status bar. And so when I hit OK on this, I'll be able to see, it'll say connecting to host, receiving response, transaction completed, those kind of things. And just like Mercury and Merchant Warehouse, over the internet, it's rather quick. Here we go. And I see it's processing. And it comes back with the approval message. This is kind of a typical approval message from the TSYS system. It's a TAS number. And I guess lastly, you print out a credit card receipt. Hopefully you can see this. And this is basically your credit card receipt with your approval number on it and so forth and so on. I'll go and close that. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. We'll be happy to send you the PDF file that tells you how to set it up and install it. We'll even be happy to send you the program. It's really a function of KeyPay, and you can do some testing with it. Let me go ahead and unmute everybody here that's on the webinar, and I'll be open for any questions that you might have. And I'll just quickly go back to just a reminder for next week. Dave Hunsinger is going to be presenting the PCI compliance and so forth. So let me go ahead and unmute everybody, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know I threw out a lot of information in the last 30 minutes, but we'll be happy to work with you one by one over the telephone if you need to, or we'll send you some of the information. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Sure.
This is Gordon. Up at the front when you said PC Charge version 593 or 510X, that's because of the encryption stuff? Is that why they're limited to that? Or
yeah, they've
7.1 or...
Yeah, they've actually added the support. They have this DLL, actually. It's a pscharge.dll or .ocx that actually does that secure socket link, the SSL communication in the background. And it basically was never working until we got on the phone with them and said, hey, this is supposed to work like this according to your documentation. And then they said, oh, you know, nobody ever uses that. It looks like it's never worked. And so they fixed it in 593 so that people have to be in version 593 or 510 for it to work. And as things keep changing, they send us a new OCX, and sometimes we have to put in our program to check what version of the OCX you're using and so forth.
Next question. Thank you. KeyPay, you said it's modified on the install of PC Charge, or replaced, or...
The KeyPay.exe is really part of the Keystroke program. So when you patch a version of version 7.1, let's say from build 24 to build 32, which we're at now, that actually exe actually gets updated. So when you patch Keystroke, you get new versions of KeyPay. And in the past, you've always had to be current on a software maintenance plan to get the new versions of Keystroke. Well, there could be a disconnect in that you might have bought the version of KeyPay that's good for 1 year, but then later you renew your software maintenance for a second year, and then it'll tell you that your KeyPay is a newer version than you're entitled to, and then you'll have to purchase the other $295. So if anything you might want to take away from this webinar is that to set somebody up with PC Charge with the KeyPay with PC Charge, you have to consider the cost, because it's a very competitive business out there, that they're going to have to get or buy the PC Charge program. They're going to have to buy a maintenance plan for PC Charge. They're going to have to buy a Keystroke software maintenance plan, and they're going to have to buy the KeyPay with PC Charge plan. So, you know, you're probably talking about $1,000 to $1,500 a year, depending on what you charge for the KeyPay with PC Charge. So when people say, hey, I can save you $1,000 a year on your credit cards to go with my platform, make sure that they have support, make sure that they're aware that they're going to be paying $1,000 to $1,500 a year for that payment processing option, where they could stick with Mercury or Merchant Warehouse and pretty much get the software from us for free, get the account for, you know, the regular, very competitive rates. And so keep that in mind when people are busting the doors down saying, I want to go with my bank. They really don't have to. They just feel like they've done it for so long that they have some kind of commitment with their bank. So hopefully that answered your question.
I think I just heard you say that there's three different maintenance agreements you need if you go with this route. PC Charge, KeyPay PC Charge, and Keystroke maintenance agreement to keep everybody happy.
That's the truth, right? Because Part of PCI, one of the steps is to make sure you're current on your payment processing software. And so there's 3 of them. There's Keystroke, KeyPay, and PC Charge.
Let's see I think that's all I had, Mike.
Okay. And again, Gordon, if you have any more later, you just give me a call or call anyone here. We can help you out. Does anyone else have any questions, or did I miss anything?
That was very good, Mike.
Thanks, Robert. All right, well, I'll go ahead and end the webinar for today. Remember, next week, Dave Hunsinger is going to go talk about PCI compliance, which is really, there's 2 out of the 12 steps are with software. The rest of them are how you maintain your business and your security in your business. And I thank you for your time, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, have a good day.